Hello everybody, this is Mike Brown and today is Monday, March 23rd, 2020, and I'm back a lot quicker than I thought it would be with an emergency executive order update for notaries public in New York State. This executive order temporarily allows video notarizing with no warm body present until April 18th. So April 18th is the current cutoff date, and we're going to go over the statute and show you how to get a copy of it yourself. So it's the emergency executive order signed by Governor Cuomo on Friday. It was put up on the state's website either Sunday or today, I'm not sure. It was brought to my attention by a couple members that work at law firms that need to do this. So anyway, this is Executive Order number 202.7 and continuing temporary suspension and modification of laws relating to the disaster emergency. And as you can see, this expires on April 19th, so the 18th is the last day. And I'm going to go ahead and show you what this PDF looks like, where I'm going to show you how to access it good through April 18th, so it expires on the 19th. And this is the section we're going to be looking at it, and it was signed by Governor Cuomo on Friday, the 19th of March, the year 2020. So we're not going to work off this copy. Once again, we're going to show you how to get the PDF right now. So this was posted today on the state's website, www.dos.ny.gov/licensing/notary/notary.html. And you can see it's right here, Executive Order 202.7. Let's blow that up a little. Here is a hyperlink where you can get the PDF yourself. If you're watching this video from YouTube, you want to go to our website and get the newsletter where you'll be getting the links to these things in the future, if you haven't done so already. We'll show you how to do that at the end of this video. So blowing this up, here's a screenshot of what's on the notary website at Division of Licensing Services. Alert, as part of Executive Order 202.7, electronic notarization is permitted under the following circumstances. Any notarial act that is required under New York State law is authorized to be performed utilizing audio-video technology, provided that the following conditions are met. Now, this is all there is. So I'm not giving anybody any legal advice here. You're going to have to wing it and get legal advice from your legal department. I'll tell you the way I interpret it for me, which is not legal advice, but I'm sure you'll find this information useful. Now, right off the bat, it says this is only for things that are required under New York State law. Now, under New York State law, if somebody brings you an affidavit, you're required to notarize it. So any affidavit is required under New York State law if they bring it to you in your jurisdiction, which we know is the physical boundaries of New York State. So if anybody shows you this on the video webcam chat, you're allowed to do it if it's an affidavit. Now, the only other way, the format that we notarize is acknowledgments. We're not bound by law to do acknowledgments. We could kind of like be too busy. But if it were me, I would be comfortable notarizing anything from any other jurisdiction if they're in New York State visiting our jurisdiction, because it does say under New York State law we're allowed to notarize things for any other jurisdiction, even foreign countries, according to the laws and usage. So you can notarize things from anywhere in the world as long as that person's in New York State while you do this, if they're in your jurisdiction. And it specifies right here that the person seeking the notary services, if not personally known to the notary, must present valid photo ID to the notary during the video conference, not merely transmit it prior to or after. And it says right down here that the person must transmit by fax or electronic means a legible copy of the signed document directly to the notary on the same date it was signed. It doesn't talk about the ID there. Now, normally we don't have to have a photo ID. The law just says that we're required to ask for satisfactory evidence. So you can get creative with that under special circumstances where you'd want to use a journal. But right here they are saying it has to be a photo ID. I would go so far as me personally to require that that photo ID be a government issued ID that's signature bearing and not expired or current. That's what I would want. That's entirely up to you. The statute doesn't specify that. So it says that that they have to show it to you, not merely transmit you the photo ID. That means we're allowed to get a copy of the ID, according to the fact that that they can't merely transmit it, which means they could transmit it. So if it were me, I would get them to scan or fax a copy of that ID too, to cover my you-know-what. All right. So the video conference must allow for direct interaction between the person and the notary. For example, no pre-recorded videos of the person signing. So they can't videotape themselves signing it and email it to you. They must sign it in front of you if it's an affidavit, because affidavits must be signed in the presence of the notary. So you would have to tell them, look, tilt your camera down. I want to see you signing that if it's an affidavit, because they would have transmitted to you by fax or email a copy of what it is they're signing in front of you, right, ahead of time. Now, acknowledgments don't have to be signed in the notary. The statute says that it's no longer mandatory for the person who executes the instrument do so in the presence of the notary if it's an acknowledgment notary certificate in front of you. If it's an affidavit, you have to see them sign that. And so next, the person must affirmatively represent that he or she is physically situated in the state of New York. That means you need to ask them, and hey, are you in New York State? And they have to say yes, affirmatively. And I would even go so far as to say, well, what county are you in? So that you have that. And when you get free video conferencing systems, and they're all over the internet, if you're not, isn't something you've used before, there's always a way to record what you're doing. So I think it would be reasonable for me, I'm not giving legal advice, to record this whole thing and keep that file under this emergency statute to cover you-know-what. So the person has to do this in front of you on the video live on the date you're notarizing it, which is always required. Normally required to specify the date they appear before us, so we have to specify the date that you did this live with them. Then the notary may notarize the transmitted copy of the document and transmit the same back to the person. So you could transmit it back by making a scan of it, a screenshot of it, scan it and send it over, or even fax it. Then the notary may repeat the notarization of the original signed document as of the date of execution, provided the notary receives such original signed document together with the electronically notarized copy within 30 days after the date of execution. That said a lot of things there, but what this means is that people need, in most cases, they need a copy of the original. Now, since you're basically notarizing over the internet, so they're appearing before you over the internet on a webcam, you're notarizing a copy over the internet because they emailed you a copy of it or faxed it, and you're scanning it yourself and emailing it back to them or faxing it back to them notarized. But they need the original done too, but because of keeping away from people, that's what this emergency is for, so you don't have to meet people physically. You're then allowed to go ahead when they FedEx it back to you, the copy you sent them with their original signature on it. Then you can notarize it again with the same date that you notarized the one you sent them, because that was the day you witnessed it. Okay, so you would notarize it the date that you did it on the transmitted copy that they had to mail you a copy of with the original. So you're not really backdating it, but you're notarizing it again for the date that had been prior to when you receive it in the mail or by FedEx or UPS or something. Then you're going to have to get it back to them, the original, and that's going to be an expense for you. Now, normally the statute says we can only charge $2 when somebody appears before us for the Notary Act, right? And it's not mandatory to charge the fee. So you could charge them. It doesn't say how you're going to charge them because you're doing this through the internet or whatever. Maybe they could send a check to you or something, because if they need this really quick, they might want you to FedEx it or UPS it back to them, or overnight it in the U.S. mail or something, even regular postage. Apparently, it would be reasonable for you to require that fee. All right, so just don't. If it were me, I wouldn't gouge them and start charging extra fees for this service because they are appearing before you and you're not going to them. So be careful not to gouge people, but I think reasonable extra fees that you have would be allowed by the law because the statutes don't prohibit them. That's why traveling notaries make a good income traveling to people, and they charge bridges and tolls and gas and mileage. Okay, so keep in mind here, you have to receive this within 30 days of the date you dated it when you did it the day you met with them online. It's no longer valid after 30 days, so you must receive this within 30 days before you can notarize the second copy. So once again, we're going to give you a link in the newsletter. If you're getting this video out of the newsletter, you have the link in there to download this PDF directly from the state. I would get a copy of that and keep it with any of these that you do to cover your rear, because not everybody's going to be aware of this and they might think you're breaking the law. So how do you get the original newsletter with PDF links and things that we do every month and update people? You go to our website, which is howtobecomeanotaryinny.com, and you click on the tab Join Notary Association to join for free. This is all free service. It's volunteer. We got a shortcut URL because that other one's long. www.notaryeverything.com. It's just a redirect to our main URL, which is a safe and secure website. You click on this button, Join N.Y.S Notary Association, and then we state here we're a volunteer service. We can never charge a fee. So we're not even a 501c3 for this free service, so that we're not actually regulated. It's a volunteer service. No money exchanges hands. You put in your email address, your name, and your last name, and you want it in HTML because that way you're going to get live links. If you choose text, which is required in a lot of people's places of business for security, even though this is not a spam or dangerous email, if you choose text, you would have to copy and paste emails into your internet web browser. If you choose HTML, you're going to get live links. Okay, so you hit subscribe and you're good to go. So that's all I have for you. Everybody stay safe out there, and remember, no fear.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.